In a quaint suburban neighborhood, life moved at a gentle, predictable pace. Tree-lined streets, neatly trimmed lawns, and vibrant flower beds painted a picture of serenity and comfort. Every day unfolded like a well-loved routine, with neighbors greeting each other warmly and children laughing as they played in the park. At the heart of this peaceful community lived Max, a loyal and courageous dog whose keen instincts and loving nature made him a cherished member of his family. Max's days were filled with simple pleasures. Every morning, he eagerly waited by the door, tail wagging in anticipation of the day's adventures. His human family showered him with affection and care. He enjoyed long walks under the golden sunrise, playful afternoons in the yard, and quiet moments spent basking in the gentle glow of the setting sun. Max's world was one of trust and security, a stark contrast to the looming uncertainty hidden just beyond the edge of the neighborhood. On the outskirts of the town stood an old, abandoned house, a relic of a bygone era, shrouded in mystery and silence. Over the years, this dilapidated structure had fallen into disrepair, its once grand facade now a crumbling testament to time. Locals whispered stories of its past, but it was largely forgotten by the busy residents who focused on their harmonious lives. Unbeknownst to them, the house harbored a secret. Within its shadowed rooms, a tiny kitten named Luna had found shelter from a relentless rainstorm, unaware that her newfound haven would soon be engulfed in peril. As the day drew to a close, the neighborhood continued its gentle rhythm, completely unaware of the unfolding danger. Max, with his unyielding sense of duty, patrolled his surroundings with calm vigilance, ensuring that all was well. The stage was being silently set for an extraordinary event, a moment that would not only test the limits of his bravery but also forge an unlikely bond between two very different souls, preparing the community for the miraculous tale that was about to begin. As dusk fell and the sky turned a deep shade of indigo, a sudden crackling noise shattered the quiet of the neighborhood. The old abandoned house, long silent and forgotten, was now alive with raging flames. Thick, black smoke began billowing into the air, carrying with it the unmistakable scent of burning wood and despair. Neighbors peered out of their windows in alarm, their hearts racing as the realization of a spreading fire took hold. Inside the crumbling structure, chaos reigned. In a dark corner of a once cozy room, Luna, the tiny kitten, huddled in a corner, her wide eyes reflecting the terror and confusion of the moment. The fire had ignited suddenly, trapping her amidst the debris and overwhelming heat. Every crackle of the burning timber sent shivers down her fragile spine, and the growing inferno threatened to engulf her completely. Amidst this turmoil, Max's instincts kicked into high gear. Even as his family and neighbors panicked, the loyal dog's attention was drawn to the danger emanating from the old house. With a powerful determination, Max sprinted toward the blaze, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and resolve. As he approached, the heat became almost unbearable, and the flames danced wildly, illuminating the dark sky. Without hesitation, Max pushed through fallen beams and scattered debris. The roar of the fire was deafening, yet he relied solely on his unwavering sense of duty. With every step, his ears twitched, listening for the faintest cry for help. It wasn't long before he heard the desperate mewling of Luna. Guided by instinct and compassion, he navigated the treacherous interior, carefully avoiding hazards as he made his way to the source of the sound. Finding Luna was both a moment of relief and urgency. The tiny kitten was trembling in a corner, her eyes filled with terror as the flames licked closer. Max gently nudged her with his nose, encouraging her to move toward a small gap between crumbling walls. Time was critical, and every second counted as the fire's intensity grew. With delicate care that belied his strong frame, Max reassured Luna through soft, comforting whimpers, guiding her along the safest path he could forge. Together, they maneuvered through corridors filled with smoke and peril, Max always leading the way. The relentless heat and falling debris tested their resolve, yet the unlikely duo pressed on. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they reached the threshold of safety, a narrow opening that offered a glimpse of the night sky and fresh, cool air beyond the burning chaos. Outside, the scene was one of controlled chaos as firefighters and rescue teams arrived, their lights piercing the smoke. Neighbors gathered at a safe distance, watching in awe as Max emerged from the inferno with Luna by his side. The heroic rescue was a turning point that transformed fear into hope, as the community witnessed the extraordinary bond of courage and compassion between two unlikely friends. In the wake of the daring rescue, the community was swept into a tide of disbelief and admiration. As word spread that Max, the courageous dog, had risked everything to save a tiny kitten from a raging inferno. A palpable sense of wonder and hope took over the neighborhood. The event became an overnight sensation. Local news crews and reporters quickly converged on the scene, their cameras capturing every detail, from the billowing smoke that still clung to the evening sky to the exhausted but triumphant expressions on the faces of firefighters. Interviews with eyewitnesses painted vivid portraits of the rescue. One neighbor recalled, "I was watching from my window when I saw Max darting into that fire. It was as if he knew exactly what he had to do." Their words echoed the sentiment of an entire community, united by the heroism of one extraordinary animal. As the story unfolded on television and in newspapers, Max's act of bravery became a symbol of selflessness and determination. Social media platforms buzzed with heartfelt messages and hashtags celebrating his heroism. Many shared their own stories of unexpected kindness and valor, inspired by the profound impact of Max's actions. Local animal shelters even reported a spike in adoptions and donations, as people sought to honor the spirit of the rescue by extending care to other animals in need. For Luna, the experience was transformative as well. Rescued from the brink of a life-threatening situation, she found herself enveloped in a wave of gratitude and newfound affection. Her relieved and timid eyes soon turned curious, as she began exploring her surroundings under the gentle watch of her new guardian. The family who took her in couldn't help but marvel at the small creature's resilience, and they made it their mission to ensure she never felt alone or frightened again. The rescue also spurred an outpouring of community initiatives. Local authorities, moved by the incident, organized meetings to discuss ways to better support and protect stray animals. In the weeks that followed, volunteers gathered to clean up neglected areas and repair dilapidated structures that could pose hazards. Community centers began hosting educational programs about fire safety and emergency preparedness, not just for humans, but for pets as well. In the midst of the media frenzy and communal rebuilding, a quiet transformation took root. Max and Luna's journey had become a powerful reminder of how acts of compassion can inspire collective change. Their story bridged gaps between neighbors, rekindling a shared sense of responsibility and kindness. As the town slowly returned to normal, every citizen carried a renewed belief that even in the face of catastrophe, a spark of courage could light the way to a better tomorrow. In the weeks that followed the rescue, a gentle transformation swept over the community. Max and Luna, now inseparable companions, became living symbols of hope and unity. Their journey from danger to safety had not only saved lives but also sparked a movement of compassion among the residents. Every day, neighbors would stop to admire the unusual pair, a brave dog and a once frightened kitten now basking in the glow of their newfound friendship. Families began sharing stories of how Max's selfless act reminded them of the power of empathy, while local schools incorporated the tale into lessons about courage and community spirit. The story of the rescue spread far beyond the neighborhood, inspiring people in nearby towns and even catching the attention of animal welfare organizations. Seeing the impact of Max and Luna's bond, community leaders organized initiatives aimed at helping other animals in need. Volunteer groups were formed to support local shelters, and fundraising events were held to create safer environments for stray animals. Workshops on pet care and emergency preparedness were launched, teaching residents how to react in times of crisis and fostering a culture of mutual support. These efforts were not just about preventing future tragedies, they were a celebration of life, resilience, and the unexpected ways in which one act of bravery could change everything. Meanwhile, Max and Luna continued their everyday adventures together. They became familiar faces on neighborhood walks, greeting residents with friendly licks and soft purrs. The two friends often lounged in sunny spots at the local park, where children would laugh and mimic their playful antics. Their presence served as a constant reminder that, even in the aftermath of calamity, life could flourish with warmth, kindness, and an unbreakable bond. As seasons changed, the neighborhood evolved too. Where once there was an abandoned, crumbling house, plans began to take shape for a community garden and a new animal care center, projects inspired directly by the legacy of that unforgettable rescue. Max and Luna's story had kindled a movement, turning tragedy into a catalyst for growth, and transforming a community that had once been marked by quiet routine into one characterized by collective strength, empathy, and a hopeful outlook toward the future. In the end, the bond between a courageous dog and a rescued kitten became much more than a heartwarming tale. It became a beacon of light, proving that even in the darkest of times, compassion can lead to renewal, and every small act of kindness holds the power to change the world. In the months following the miraculous rescue, the community found itself forever changed by the extraordinary events that had unfolded. What began as a single act of bravery had blossomed into a profound legacy, inspiring lasting change in the hearts and minds of everyone involved. Local leaders, moved by the heroism of Max and Luna, spearheaded a series of initiatives aimed at both preserving the memory of that fateful night and preventing future tragedies. A memorial was established near the site of the old house, featuring a beautifully crafted sculpture of a dog and a kitten, intertwined in a symbol of unity and courage. This tribute quickly became a cherished landmark, drawing visitors from near and far who came to learn about the rescue and to be reminded that even in the face of danger, compassion can shine brightly. Beyond the memorial, the community embraced a renewed commitment to safety and preparedness. Workshops were organized not only to educate residents about fire safety and emergency protocols but also to raise awareness about the importance of caring for all living creatures. Schools integrated these lessons into their curricula, encouraging children to think about empathy, responsibility, and the value of every life, no matter how small. These programs sparked lively discussions and creative projects, with many students drawing inspiration from Max and Luna's story to produce art, literature, and even community service projects. The rescue also had a ripple effect on local animal welfare efforts. A dedicated animal care center was established, funded through generous donations from community members and local businesses touched by the story. This center quickly evolved into a hub of activity, offering veterinary services, rehabilitation programs, and adoption events. Volunteers from across the region joined forces to ensure that no animal in need was left behind, and the center became a beacon of hope for stray and abandoned animals alike. At the heart of this transformation were Max and Luna, whose enduring bond continued to captivate the community. Their daily walks became a symbol of resilience and unity. Neighbors would often gather along the route, exchanging smiles and stories about how the rescue had inspired them to look out for one another. Photographs of the duo adorned community bulletin boards, social media pages, and local newspapers, reinforcing the message that acts of courage could spark a wave of positive change. As time passed, the legacy of that incredible night began to spread beyond the confines of the neighborhood. News outlets picked up the story, and soon it was shared on national platforms, inspiring other communities to follow suit. Animal welfare organizations and civic groups reached out to collaborate on similar initiatives, all aiming to create environments where compassion and preparedness went hand in hand. The tale of Max and Luna had transcended local boundaries, serving as a timeless reminder that even the smallest act of kindness could ignite a movement with far-reaching consequences. In this way, the legacy of bravery endured, a legacy built not only on the heroics of one dog and one kitten but on the collective spirit of a community that refused to let tragedy define its future. Their story, etched in the hearts of all who witnessed it, continued to inspire generations, reminding everyone that hope and courage are the true catalysts for lasting change.